Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Absolute Resonance Part 25 based on novel. So let's start. Bedroom. Sunlight filtered in through the window, landing on Li Luo's back. He had a jade tablet scroll in his hands, held up to his brow. His eyes were closed as he flipped through it. 1. On the jade tablet scroll was the acquired resonance godly forging art that his parents had left him. A long time later, he finally opened his eyes. He massaged his brow lightly. Despite his fatigue, his eyes were full of fire. Li Luo had been looking forward to his second acquired resonance for a long time. As he finally started to get familiar with the acquired resonance godly forging art, Li Luo was starting to realize just how hard it was to get acquired resonances. The acquired resonance godly forging art was made of many materials imbued with various strands of energies that were forged into the required object. For example, in order to forge an acquired fire resonance, one would need to find all sorts of fire energy materials and then use a special method to forge and temper them until their varied energies reached harmony. And then one would need to use blood essence from one's own spirit soul to activate it. Finally, you would have produced a passable acquired resonance. The most tedious part of this process was accumulating the materials, and the repeated calibrations to find a harmony. In other words, the godly forging art was not just a labor of skill, but also one of hard work. After reading the acquired resonance godly forging art, Li Luo knew that much of his remaining years would be spent on this. But the good news was that Li Taixian and Tan Tailan had left some notes at the back of the jade tablet scroll detailing some of their past attempts. This was valuable experience that could help Li Luo save precious time, something that he barely had. Most importantly, they had left him a hint. It was a suggestion that perhaps it would be good if the primary attribute of his second acquired resonance was wood. The reason for this was tied to the blood essence and lifespan that Li Luo had lost in gaining his first acquired resonance. Although the water-light resonance could help replenish losses, for safety's sake, a wood resonance was a good insurance policy. This was because a wood resonance would not only have restorative properties, it would also have detoxifying properties. It would further boost his survivability. With water, wood, and light resonances, any damage that Li Luo took would no longer hurt his core. Wood resonance, eh? Li Luo lapsed into deep thought. He had originally thought to choose an offensive second resonance. But his parents had suggested the wood resonance. He would have to adjust his thinking. Well, his water-light resonance had been sufficiently modified, and he was getting by offensively. Perhaps a primary wood resonance would be workable. Besides, the wood resonance was more about control. He could explore that further. First trap his opponent, then make them a pincushion for his arrows. Still, that didn't seem very fitting. Maybe he would be seen as a sadist who loved torture. Regardless, he already had handsome looks. No need to care about how he looked when he fought. Li Luo made his decision. Channeling resonant power to his palm, he pressed it on the jade tablet scroll. Twang! A beam of light shot out from the scroll, pouring out before expanding. Finally, it took shape as a six-colored wheel of light. On the wheel of light, there were many holes. 128 of them, to be precise. One side had 86, the other 42. The one with more holes was the primary, the one with less was the secondary. And in the center of the wheel was a curious indent with many arcane patterns running out from it. This was the acquired resonance godly forging wheel. This was a support item that was crucial to getting an acquired resonance. It was fairly tricky to make, definitely way beyond Li Luo's current abilities. Luckily, his parents had left him one. If he wanted to forge his second acquired resonance, he would have to gather all sorts of materials and learn special methods to distill them. Finally, he would have to fill the holes on the acquired resonance godly forging wheel. When both sides were fully complete, he would have to add his own spirit soul and blood essence to finish it. Li Luo stared at the six-colored light wheel for a long time, then he shook the jade tablet scroll to stow it away. If wood was going to be the primary attribute, what about the secondary? How should he choose? He sat in front of the hearth, deep in thought. The harsh rays of sunlight gently transitioned into the dull red of evening. Li Luo finally exhaled deeply and put brush briefly to paper. He wrote 2 words. Wood. Earth. This was the best he had come up with. Primary wood, secondary earth. Wood-earth resonance. Since wood's specialty was in control, then it should be honed to the fullest. The best support for a wood resonance was an earth resonance. Their synergy would further reinforce the control he could bring. Besides, both water and light would synergize quite well with a wood resonance as well. And the defenses of an earth resonance would further help his survivability. For all these reasons, Li Luo made his decision. Done, he hesitated no longer, leaving the room in search of Cai Wei at the old manor. He told her his request. Young lord, you need materials with wood and earth energies. Although Cai Wei found this request strange, she accepted. There are some leftover things in the old manor's storehouse. I will retrieve them for you. If they are insufficient, I'll send someone to purchase what you need from the market. Although these materials were not cheap, the Sun Creek villa was swimming in sky gold. Much of the financial pressure had been alleviated, so they were no longer forced to pinch pennies like they did at the start. Thanks, Sister Cai Wei. Li Luo gave her a jaunty wave and left her to her business. Her lovely eyes watched his back, and she smiled as well. She could sense that Li Luo was in a good mood today. After putting away her account book, she personally went to take care of his errand. Thanks to her frightful efficiency, she had the first batch of materials delivered to his room within 2 hours. In the room, Li Luo pulled out a green plant from a jade box. It had green, wind chime-shaped flowers. This was a woodbell flower, a rare flower with wood properties. Mouthing the acquired resonance godly forging ART's incantation, Li Luo pressed it with his fingers and pushed his resonant power in. 1. After a moment, a thumb-sized flame appeared on his palm. This flame was special. It had a translucent sheen to it, as though devoid of any element. This is the acquired resonance flame. Li Luo looked at it curiously. The flame was the core of the acquired resonance godly forging art, and only materials forged within the acquired resonance flame could become acquired resonances. However, Li Luo's own resonant power was still too weak. That was why the acquired resonance flame he had summoned was only a small one. Well, I'll do my best. Li Luo shook his head exasperatedly. Plucking one woodbell flower, he lit it with the acquired resonance flame. However, he failed to control the heat properly the first time, reducing it to smoking ash. No matter, failure was the mother of success. The second, third, and fourth woodbell flowers all met the same fate. Come on. Why is it so hard? Li Luo was feeling frustrated now. He could only take it as a learning experience. He moved on to another material and tried again. After burning away several materials, Li Luo finally felt like he was getting the hang of things. He finally managed to forge a rare grass with earth properties. He formed a dark brown liquid, which he put into one of the holes on the 6-colored light wheel. It immediately lit up, shining with a faint light, and a connection formed to the hole beside it. Li Luo's heart leaped when he saw this. He forged yet another material, this time putting it into the hole that was connected. However, the moment he added it, the 6-colored light wheel started to quiver, as though trying to expel the material. A rejection reaction. Li Luo hurriedly pulled it out. This meant that the material was not suited for his acquired resonance. Next, Li Luo continued to try out various kinds, until he finally found one that was not rejected. With the second hole filled, another strand of light extended out from it towards a third hole. Li Luo would have to fill all the holes on the 6-colored light wheel, and also achieve a balance between the primary and secondary sides before the acquired resonance was properly forged. But when night fell, Li Luo had only managed to fill 4 holes. And he was completely drained. This was an exhausting process. However, he was not impatient. After all, he was still some time away from the resonant master stage. Before that, he had time to slowly experiment with materials and piece the 6-colored light wheel together. That would be the time when he would get his second acquired resonance. He could not wait. As Li Luo methodically filled up the holes on the acquired resonance godly forging wheel, another half a month of holidays passed. But in this half a month, Li Luo's resonant power did not reach the 10th seal level. He was still at the 9th seal. Evidently, progress slowed as one climbed. Previously, he had been helped by the aid of the Sky Gold Room, not to mention he had kept up his studies despite his blank palaces. That had helped him to accrue some latent potential. But now all that was spent. His cultivation speed had returned to normal. Also, now that the examinations had been over for a month, the excitement was finally dying down. Now the Qianshu citizens were turning their attention to another major event on the horizon. The Festival of Purifying Spirits. In this world of resonances, the importance of resonances could not be overstated. They determined one's cultivation. They determined everything. And spirit liquids and purifying lights could improve one's resonance grade. They were consumables that could not be missed out on. Therefore, anything that concerned these liquids and lights would always attract attention. After all, the examinations were mere entertainment for those not involved. Spirit liquids and purifying lights, however, affected every single person's own abilities. The Festival of Purifying Spirits would attract all of the villas across the Qianshu province. They would send their finest resonance artificers to fight for the title of Artificer Prime. Having the Prime would greatly improve the reputation of the villa and affect its market share. The profits at stake were enormous. All of the villas in the Qianshu province had started preparations long ago, including House Loulan Sun Creek Villa. The venue of the festival was one of the arenas in the city of Southwind. Li Luo arrived with Cai Wei, and he was surprised by the number of people. "It's really crowded," he remarked. "The festival has already been underway for 3 days. But so far it has been just a product exhibit. The real show starts today," Cai Wei replied. "How is Sister Lingqing doing?" Li Luo asked. "No idea. She was buried in her books for a long time, and I didn't dare to disturb her. But she's already here. You can ask her yourself." Cai Wei shrugged. Li Luo nodded. The two walked towards the area that the Sun Creek Villa had been allocated. They found Yang Lingqing leaning on the rail and looking towards the center, where a refining platform was being assembled. Evidently, the tempering contest today would be held there. "Seems like Sister Lingqing is really serious about today," Li Luo called out. Yang Lingqing propped up her silver-rimmed spectacles. "I don't mind losing to anyone besides Song Qiuyu," she said mildly. "And are you confident?" Li Luo asked. Yang Lingqing fell silent. "Both Song Qiuyu and I are 4th-grade resonance artificers. We should be pretty evenly matched. I've chosen a 4th-grade spirit liquid that I'm most familiar with. I can consistently produce it at about 58% to 60%. And as far as I know, the 4th-grade liquids and lights that Song Qiuyu has produced so far are just a little behind that. If nothing has changed drastically, my chances of victory are slightly higher. But the Song family is working with the Inkwater Villa now," Cai Wei chimed in doubtfully. "They're going all out. Would they prepare something special?" She looked around them carefully. "Do you think Song Qiuyu will bring out a 5th-grade liquid or light?" "Impossible." Yang Lingqing immediately replied. "I have only barely grasped the basics of a 5th-grade resonance artificer, and all my attempts to temper a 5th-grade spirit liquid have resulted in failure. How could Song Qiuyu achieve it?" Seeing her so resolute, Cai Wei desisted. After all, Yang Lingqing was the expert in spirit liquids and purifying lights. She knew her field best. Li Luo smiled. "It seems like everyone can bring an assistant when tempering. Have you chosen yours, Sister Lingqing?" She turned her beautiful eyes to him. "You don't trust me." "I'm just concerned," Li Luo replied sincerely. "I don't really mind if Sister Lingqing wins or loses. Even if you lose, I don't think a swing in reputation will affect the quality of the Sun Creek Villa's spirit liquids. There really isn't a need to feel too pressured." Her look softened. "I'm not pressured," she replied out of habit. But as she turned away, she looked back, lifting her sharp chin ever so slightly. But if you want to be my assistant, feel free to do so. You're the young lord anyway. Not like I can control you. Li Luo grinned. Her aloof character was quite endearing. After tying up the conversation, he went into the arena, planning to look around at other spirit liquids and purifying lights. Cai Wei and Yang Lingqing watched him from the balcony. The former smiled. Seems like our young lord has quite the tender side to him. Yang Lingqing sniffed. Kids are meddlesome. Even if something really crops up, what can a second-grade resonance artificer do to save the situation? Harsh words. I sensed you were moved back there though, Cai Wei teased. Huh. I have fawners aplenty. You think those few words can move my stone heart? Do you know what my nickname was back in the resonance tempering hall? Stone-hearted maiden. Yang Lingqing proudly puffed out her chest. Cai Wei pulled a face. What's there to be proud of? Did you temper your brain into a spirit liquid by any chance? Besides, that pose doesn't suit you. Yang Lingqing glared at her. Wicked vixen. How dare she make fun of her figure? I'll get you. She reached out a naughty hand to tickle Cai Wei's tummy and chest. The two women squealed mischievously on the balcony, looking like a pair of young girls. Not fortunate enough to see this, Li Luo was ambling around the arena aimlessly, browsing through the products of the various villas. He was a second-grade resonance artificer after all. Being exposed to more products would broaden his understanding of spirit liquids and purifying lights. He indeed learned quite a lot from his wanderings. After quite some time, Li Luo finally decided to head back when he suddenly saw a familiar figure. Lu Qing'e. Today she was dressed in a fashionably pale green. Her short skirt was paired with white lace socks. Her lovely looks were complemented by the white parasol she was holding. She was constantly drawing looks from others. However, there was a nasty fly hovering nauseatingly near her. It was a familiar figure. Mo Ling, who they had clashed with back at the Tower Qingfeng. This guy was a real playboy. Despite his obvious intentions towards Song Chuyu, he was still flirting. He was standing by her side, smiling happily as he tried to chat her up. Lu Qing'e was keeping her expression under control, but Li Luo knew that her lack of expression indicated that she was irritated. He snuck up on them and whispered. Selling flies waters. 5,000 sky gold apiece. The sudden sound by her ear made Lu Qing'e jump. She turned to face Li Luo with a happy gleam in her eye. Her girlish smile was a stark contrast to the stony expression from before. Your flies water's too expensive. Trying to rip me off? Lu Qing'e laughed. Can't be helped. Your fly's too big. I suspect it's perverted, Li Luo said with full seriousness. The corners of her mouth twitched. Mo Ling's face darkened. Li Luo, trying to start something? I'm just talking with a schoolmate. None of your business. Li Luo smiled. Well, I'm your senior. You're being rude, Mo Ling said coolly. That attitude is going to make you pay when you're in the Astral Sage College. Then I guess I'll bring a few more bodyguards with me, Li Luo replied. Mo Ling's eyes flashed. He knew that Li Luo was reminding him of the Tower Qingfeng incident. Still, he knew that there was no point in kicking up a fuss now. He swallowed his anger. Laugh while you can, Li Luo. After today, the Inkwater Villa spirit liquids and purifying lights will dominate the Qianshu province, and your Sun Creek Villa will be screwed. He stomped off. Li Luo shook his head. How did you attract such a wasp? He asked, turning to Lu Qing'e. She glared at him. Nonsense. I was just wandering around. No idea why he would come over. She was annoyed that Li Luo had implied that she had invited him. Li Luo hurriedly pacified her. My bad, my bad. Sister Qing'e is as pretty as a floating lotus. You were unlucky to float into a pile of cow turd. She rolled her eyes at him, slightly mollified. The Inkwater Villa has established an alliance with the Song family. They will definitely make their move during the festival, she said with a hint of worry. Don't worry. I'm prepared, Li Luo said indifferently, waving it off. Lu Qing'e was a little curious, but she did not press further. Instead, she stared closely at Li Luo. You're a 9th seal already? You're a 10th seal already? Li Luo countered. Their physical closeness allowed him to detect the faint frost energy she was emitting. It was much colder than before. Clearly, her resonant power had gotten even more robust. She was a 9th seal before, and reaching the 10th seal by this month was normal. She nodded slightly. She was holding a parasol due to the hot weather, and now she inclined it slightly to shade Li Luo as well. I can probably reach the first tier of the Resonant Master stage before I enter the Astral Sage College. Impressive. Li Luo whistled, giving her a big thumbs up. You should buck up too. Don't think we'll be anything special in the Astral Sage College just because we ranked 1st and 2nd in the Jianshu province. The other newcomers from stronger provinces will be really intense. I heard that there's a streaming competition when we get in, that decides what class we go to. It will be far harder than the college final examinations, Lu Qing'e told him severely. Li Luo nodded. Of course he would not underestimate the other newcomers. He wasn't qualified to do so. The Jianshu province was only mid-tier in Xia Kingdom. If he really thought first place in the Jianshu province meant anything, then he would truly be a fool. As the two chatted pleasantly, Mo Ling had stalked off angrily to the Pine Nut Villa. He spotted Song Qiuyu watching the crowd. Who's pissed you off now? She snickered at him. Met that Li Luo again. Grr, Mo Ling said, grinding his teeth. No worries. After today, I think he'll regret the way he's treated you, Song Qiuyu said uncaringly. Mo Ling nodded, his expression softening. Are you ready? I'm roughly as strong as Yang Lingqing, but with your Mo family's secret recipe, I will definitely beat her. Hee, I can't wait. That little squirt was really stuck up. I'm going to enjoy the look on her face when I beat her, Song Qiuyu said gleefully. Hearing her coquettish laugh while he enjoyed the view of her hourglass figure, Mo Ling was starting to feel an itch in his heart. He reached out towards her waist. She twisted away, teasing him. If my father sees you, you had better be ready to propose marriage or leave Jianshu. Mo Ling hurriedly replied, I don't mind getting engaged immediately, as long as you are willing. Let's wait for a good time. She smiled. He could only nod. She again turned to the arena below, her eyes losing their warmth. Of course she had seen Mo Ling flirting with Lu Qing'e. The guy did his thinking with his lower half. If he wasn't still useful to her, she would have ignored him. However, they still needed the Inkwater Villa's help to deal with the Sun Creek Villa. For now, she would have to endure him. She could kick him away once her mission was accomplished. A gong interrupted her thoughts, and there was a pronounced increase in the crowd's chatter. Song Qiuyu looked eagerly. Finally, the tempering contest was here. When the gong sounded, Li Luo and Lu Qing'e also followed the crowd towards the center of the arena. Li Luo could see that Yang Lingqing had already made her way there. Her willowy figure, silver-rimmed spectacles, and long, flowing hair had caught the eye of many men. Does House Loulan hire based on looks? That Majordomo Cai Wei is a real looker, and this president of the Sun Creek Villa is an ice queen too. Lu Qing'e teased him as she checked out Yang Lingqing. Li Luo had no immediate rejoinder to that. After all, both women were indeed great beauties. If others did not know that Jiang Qing'e was the one who had arranged for them to come here, he would indeed be slandered as a playboy. I'm heading over to second uncle's side. Want to come with? She crooked a finger towards the Golden Dragon Bank seats on the spectator platform. Although the Golden Dragon Bank was not a villa, their deep business connections made them interested in the proceedings as well. Li Luo shook his head and smiled. I'm going up. He indicated to the arena. Lu Qing'e's surprise showed. You competing in the tempering arts? I'm just going to assist Sister Lingqing. And gain some exposure. After all, I'm a resonance artificer too. Li Luo grinned. I'll be rooting for you. Lu Qing'e laughed. Batting her luscious lashes at him with interest, she waved him off with a dainty hand before turning away with her white parasol. Li Luo headed for the stage, where Yang Lingqing currently was. On stage, there were refining workstations made of transparent crystal. Yang Lingqing was in one of them, currently arranging her things. She looked up when Li Luo walked in. "You really can't get away from that girl no matter where you go." She had spotted him walking around with Lu Qing'e. "Coincidence," Li Luo clarified. "I think she's a little interested in you," Yang Lingqing said. "No way. I won't let you sully our pure and platonic friendship." Li Luo objected. She coughed once dryly. "Well, it's none of my business, but the girl has standards. Still, I wonder if you will be able to hold back the queens over at the Astral Sage College. It's getting out of hand now." "Queens? Then what am I? A king?" Li Luo countered. "You wish." Yang Lingqing scoffed. She handed him a formula. "This is the spirit liquid I'm going to refine. Familiarize yourself with it." Li Luo carefully read it. The fourth-grade spirit liquid was called cyanobacteria. It was a rather difficult spirit liquid to get right, as fourth-grade liquids went. Evidently, Yang Lingqing was holding nothing back against Song Qiuyu. He scanned the list of ingredients and then inhaled sharply. There were more than 400 of them. Processing each one perfectly would be quite a test of one's refining skill. This is the formula for a fourth-grade spirit liquid? Incredible. Li Luo marveled. He could only refine second-grade spirit liquids for now, for which he had to handle at most 100 types of ingredients. That was nothing compared to a fourth-grade spirit liquid. Besides, the fusions between the fourth-grade ingredients were even more complicated. For second-grade ingredients, at most a fusion of 2 ingredients was required. But for fourth-grade ingredients, up to 6 ingredients needed to be fused. It was a huge leap in difficulty. Staff members were starting to deliver refining ingredients, and they were soon neatly piled up nearby. As the assistant, Li Luo went to inspect them. Yang Lingqing smiled approvingly at Li Luo's meticulousness. Time ticked on, and soon the various head resonance artificers of the villas in the Qianshu province were all in their own refining workshops. Li Luo spotted Song Qiuyu entering the pine nut villas as well. The moment she stepped on stage, our eyes met Yang Lingqing's. Electricity sizzled between them. Yang Lingqing showed a blank face, but veins could be seen popping from her clenched fist. "Why do I get the sense that you hate her a lot?" Li Luo asked curiously. Yang Lingqing was one who rarely cared about anything besides spirit liquids and purifying lights. And yet she reacted strongly to Song Qiuyu. Yang Lingqing fell silent for a moment. "We used to be on pretty good terms. I even forced a recommendation to get her into my teacher's refining group. But in one crucial competition, her error caused our group to lose. Our teacher was furious and kicked her out. That wouldn't be anything major, but later on she entered another refining group. Specifically, the one that beat us in the last competition because of her error. That's mean." Li Luo agreed. Yang Lingqing was silent. It was not hard to guess that Song Qiuyu had probably been bought out by that team. And as the one who had recommended Song Qiuyu, Yang Lingqing probably felt complicit in the betrayal and apologetic towards her teacher. No wonder it was hard for her to control her feelings around Song Qiuyu. She bent her head and continued arranging the ingredients. Li Luo did not press further, joining her until the bell rang. A loud cheer went up from the crowd. Staff entered the stage and announced the various resonance artificers and their villas. As their names were read, they were greeted by cheers from their supporters. All of them had made a name for themselves in the Qianshu province. From the spectator stands, President Lu of the Golden Dragon Financial Group laughed as he looked over at the Sun Creek Villas refining platform. "That Li Luo is really everywhere." Lu Qing'e smiled. "He's a resonance artificer after all. He's here to gain experience." The lavishly dressed President Lu turned to Lu Qing'e and probed cautiously. "I say, Qing'e, haven't you been rather close to Li Luo recently?" Lu Qing'e's eyes moved. So what? She replied calmly. President Lu chuckled nervously. Well, I just wanted to say that Li Luo is already an engaged man. Lu Qing'e looked at the handsome young man behind the crystal wall and was quiet for a beat. That engagement is only in name, isn't it? Who knows? President Lu wrung his hands. Second uncle, you're imagining things. I'm not interested in Li Luo. But he helped me before, and saved me before. That made us close. You wouldn't deny me my friends, would you? Lu Qing'e demanded. No, no. President Lu quickly shook his head. He seemed relieved. Well, it's good that you're not interested. You're going to the Astral Sage College, and that's in Xia City. Your mother is there. And it's best to mention Li Luo as little as possible in front of her. Lu Qing'e's eyebrows went up. Why? President Lu chewed on the inside of his cheek for a while. It's baggage from the last generation, really. Best not to ask. Just, don't mention Li Luo in front of your mother. Lu Qing'e's eyes narrowed, but finally she nodded. For some reason, she suddenly felt irritated. Ding! Ding! The sound rang out with a sense of urgency this time, and it was clear that the competition was about to begin. The crowd yelled and cheered. Within their refining workshops, the resonance artificers squared their shoulders and prepared themselves. In the next moment, there was a flurry of water and light resonance power in each workshop, and the artificers started to prepare their ingredients. The competition had begun. Frost River algae, half a strand. Panshan vitality roots, 3. Qianxi water, 3 standard measurements. Within the Sun Creek Villa refining workshop, Yang Lingqing was issuing crisp, clear instructions, all of which Li Luo was swiftly following. He would measure out whatever she needed and hand it over. As Yang Lingqing picked up each crystal vial, she added water resonance power to crush the ingredients and release their special properties. There was no idle chit-chat now, not during the competition. It was going to be a sprint from start to finish. However, Li Luo was picking up many things from the efficient way that Yang Lingqing was working. Her understanding of ingredient integration was superb. She deftly worked through the complex steps, and he knew that he would have ruined everything if it was left to him. She was indeed quite an expert in refining. But Li Luo also knew that this was just the start. Outside, there were commentators discussing the competition. Although those outside might not fully understand the processes, looking at the tense expressions of the resonance artificers helped them feel immersed in the situation. The tension was infectious. More and more crystal vials began to line up on Yang Lingqing's rack, twinkling with blue light. Their preparation was finished. Beads of sweat had started to appear on her beautiful face, but she did not even have time to wipe them. All her attention was concentrated on the vials in her hands. Her water resonance power worked non-stop, fusing yet more ingredients. The fusion of ingredients looked simple, but it required precise control of one's resonant power to remove the impurities from within them. One had to wield the resonant power for hundreds of passes before the required essence could be properly extracted. To the untrained eye, it looked like just a channeling of resonant power into the crystal vials, but there were invisible changes happening behind that image. A classic case of the experts watching the hustle and the layman enjoying the bustle. This was a time for the resonance artificers with higher-grade resonances to distinguish themselves. A higher-grade resonance was easier to wield, and it could compensate for a lack of experience. Watching her beautiful face carefully, Li Luo hesitated for a moment. This time, while arranging the ingredients, he flicked a finger and injected a dribble of water-light resonance into it. Skyleaf juice, Yang Lingqing said. Li Luo immediately handed it over to her. Yang Lingqing took it, imbuing her water resonance power and crushing it entirely. But this time, as the ingredients fused, her hands clenched tightly. She was shocked. This fusion had gone much more smoothly than before. When channeling her resonant power into the crystal vial, there seemed to be another special force inside making things effortless. However, this was a competition, so she had no time to examine it carefully. She could only quickly finish her work and move on to the next step. Li Luo was still carefully watching her expression. Seeing her not panicking was a relief. So his bit of resonant power had not interfered with the fusion. Perhaps it was helping. This was no surprise. After all, Li Luo's resonant power worked like a special water source. It could accommodate other water and light resonances. His water-light resonance was a 6th grade one, but compared to single-element resonances, it was definitely comparable to a 7th grade. Yang Lingqing's own water resonance was a lower 7th grade. Therefore, Li Luo was technically stronger than her based on pure resonant power alone. However, because she was the main artificer, and Li Luo's power was a weak 9th seals, his water-light resonance had only helped to ease the situation. Besides, he knew that Yang Lingqing did not actually need his help for the cyanobacteria spirit liquid. Therefore, his assistance had been just a testing of the waters. Time continued to pass under their frenzied and tense pacing. At this step, the refining was in its final phase. Li Luo breathed easy now. There had been no problems with her refining, and the 4th grade cyanobacteria spirit liquid had been completed. Ding! A bell rang out, and the voice of the judges could be heard. Green light Villa, Jiao Feng. 4th grade green light purifying light, success. Tempering strength, 55%. White Fang Villa, Liu Tong. 4th grade White Fang spirit liquid, success. Tempering strength, 56%. As these were announced, Yang Lingqing did not seem fazed, calmly holding up her cyanobacteria spirit liquid. However, her composure did not hold up for long, because a surprising announcement was made. Pine Nut Villa, Song Chuyu. 5th grade dainty spirit liquid, success. Tempering strength, 53%. Wow! The entire arena broke out in an uproar. Many were looking at Song Chuyu, who was holding up a vial with a smile on her face. 5th grade spirit liquid? The Pine Nut Villa's Song Chuyu had actually completed a 5th grade spirit liquid. Many of the other resonance artificers paled. They were virtually all 4th grade resonance artificers. No one was a 5th grade artificer, and yet Song Chuyu had produced a 5th grade spirit liquid. That would crush the competition. Whether this was a stroke of luck or otherwise, it had been produced in the competition, and it was rightfully her result. Song Shan and Mo Ling both grinned triumphantly. As for House Loulan's side, the flower fan in Cai Wei's hand faltered and her lovely goose egg-shaped face stiffened. She looked worriedly over at Yang Lingqing and Li Luo's refining workshop. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Yang Lingqing had been focused on her ingredients, and suddenly she froze as if petrified. The crystal vial in her hand did not move an inch. She stared at it, and the energy began to leak out of her. How could she have a 5th grade spirit liquid? Yang Lingqing stammered to herself. Peng! A slip of her resonant power, and the crystal vial shattered. The liquid dripped down her fingers. She placed both hands on the desk to steady herself. Her head was hung, her long hair covering her face entirely. There was no point in continuing now. Song Chuyu had produced a 5th grade spirit liquid. Even if her cyanobacteria spirit liquid turned out to be a resounding success, it would still fall short. Li Luo looked at her, her resignation obvious. Through the strands of her hair, he could see that her eyes were watery. It was his first time seeing Yang Lingqing so vulnerable. Li Luo looked up at Song Chuyu. She was gloating, her victory assured. Li Luo saw her looking over at Yang Lingqing with a superior sense of mockery. He was silent for a few moments, then he suddenly spun Yang Lingqing around. He stared into her watery eyes. Sister Lingqing, he said tersely, you are definitely better than Song Chuyu. I don't know how she managed to refine a 5th grade spirit liquid, but if she can do it, you can do too. Yang Lingqing shook her head. I've never succeeded, not even once, she whispered hoarsely. Perhaps not before, but perhaps you can do it now. We're already behind anyway. What's there to lose? Li Luo whispered back. He took her fair hand and wiped it dry with his clothing, encouraging her tenderly. Sister Lingqing, I don't really care about what victory or defeat here will do to the Sun Creek Villa. I just think that you're an excellent artificer. How could you lose to her? She looked blankly at his chiseled features. Although still raw with youth, there was a strong will there that drummed up the courage in her. She bit her lip and gave him a small nod. Then, let's try. This video will end here.